Trying to control a Sigma male is one of the fastest ways to create conflict without even realizing it. Many people assume that they can influence or shape the Sigma male the same way they influence others. They may use pressure, expectations, or emotional tactics to push him into behaving a certain way. But what they don't understand is that the Sigma male's entire personality is built around independence. He is not wired to submit, follow, or be shaped by someone else's agenda. When someone tries to control him, the reaction is often shocking because it does not follow the usual pattern most people expect. Sigma males value freedom more than comfort, approval, or stability. They do not mind standing alone if it means staying true to themselves. They are polite and calm most of the time, but they have firm boundaries that sit beneath the surface. These boundaries may not always be visible, but once someone crosses them, everything changes. The Sigma male shifts into a different state. He becomes distant, silent, or sharply focused on protecting his autonomy. This change can surprise people who assumed his quiet nature meant they could influence him easily. Another reason this becomes shocking is that Sigma males rarely show their intentions directly. They do not argue loudly. They do not explain themselves or fight for attention. Instead, they react in ways that are subtle but final. They pull back. They close themselves off. They walk away without drama. This reaction can confuse people who expect confrontation or emotional expression. The Sigma male does neither. He acts with purpose, even if that purpose is silence. This video explores what really happens when people try to control a Sigma male. These are the reactions that unfold behind the scenes, the changes that people often misinterpret, and the habits that protect the Sigma male from manipulation. Each thing reveals why attempts to control him always fail, and why the person trying ends up shocked by the outcome. By understanding these reactions, we see how deeply the Sigma male values autonomy and why control triggers such powerful responses. Thing number 1. He withdraws completely and disappears. The first thing that happens when someone tries to control a Sigma male is immediate withdrawal. Sigma males do not fight for space or argue for freedom. They simply take it back. Without warning, they pull away from the person or situation that tries to limit them. This withdrawal can be emotional, social, or physical. It may look like silence, distance, or a sudden change in behavior. But behind it is a clear message. He will not stay anywhere he feels controlled. Sigma males watch people closely. They notice patterns, intentions, and tone. When they sense manipulation, pressure, or control, their instinct is to step back. This instinct is strong and automatic because it protects their inner world. The Sigma male does not wait to see if the situation improves. He acts as soon as he feels his autonomy threatened. For many people, this reaction seems extreme, but to the Sigma male, it is necessary. One of the most shocking parts of this withdrawal is how quietly it happens. There is no argument, no dramatic statement, and no attempt to fix the situation. The Sigma male simply stops engaging. Messages slow down or stop. Interest fades. Invitations are turned down. He becomes a shadow of himself around the person trying to control him. This distance can feel sudden, even if the signs were there for a long time. Withdrawal also happens internally. The Sigma male stops sharing thoughts or feelings. He closes the emotional door and keeps everything to himself. He no longer trusts the person trying to control him, and once trust breaks, the relationship changes permanently. Even if he stays present physically, the emotional withdrawal creates a gap that is nearly impossible to repair. Sigma males do not believe in forcing themselves to stay in situations that restrict them. If someone continues pushing control, the withdrawal becomes final. He disappears completely from the relationship or environment. He may cut ties, change direction, or move on without a second thought. This is not revenge. It is self-preservation. This reaction shocks people because they expect negotiation or resistance. But Sigma males do not negotiate when their independence is threatened. They leave. And once they leave, they rarely return. Thing number 2, he becomes emotionally unavailable and builds walls. The second thing that happens when someone tries to control a Sigma male is emotional closure. Even if he does not physically withdraw right away, he shuts down emotionally. He becomes distant, guarded, and difficult to read. This is not a conscious tactic. It is a natural response that helps him protect his inner space from influence or harm. Sigma males do not give their emotions freely. They share only with people they trust deeply. So when someone attempts to control them, that trust disappears instantly. They pull back emotionally to make sure the person cannot reach them or influence their mindset. This emotional wall is strong and hard to break because it is built from experience, instinct, and long-term self-protection. The Sigma male may appear calm, but inside he is stepping back from the connection. He pays attention. He observes. He stops opening up. Conversations become shorter. His reactions become harder to read. He no longer expresses vulnerability or warmth. People often interpret this as coldness, but it is actually a signal that the Sigma male feels unsafe around the person trying to control him. Another part of this emotional distance is silence. Sigma males use silence as a form of clarity. When they stop sharing, it means they are no longer invested in the relationship. They will not argue or explain why they feel controlled. They simply stop participating emotionally. This silence can feel heavy, but it sends a powerful message. He is protecting himself. Emotional unavailability also acts as a filter. It allows Sigma males to see how people react when they cannot control him emotionally. Those who genuinely care will step back and respect his space. Those who are trying to control him will push harder, revealing their true intentions. This reaction helps the Sigma male understand who belongs in his life and who does not. Over time, the walls become stronger. The Sigma male becomes even more selective about who gets access to his emotional world. Once someone triggers this defensive state, rebuilding trust becomes difficult. The Sigma male does not forget attempts to control him. He carries the experience forward and adjusts his boundaries to prevent it from happening again. This emotional withdrawal shocks people because they expect him to argue, justify himself, or explain his feelings. Instead, he goes silent and private, leaving them confused and frustrated. They do not realize that the more they push, the thicker the walls become. Thing number 3, he challenges or rebels against the control in his own way. When someone tries to control a Sigma male, he does not react the way most people expect. He does not explode with anger or engage in loud arguments. Instead, he challenges the control in a calm, calculated way. His rebellion is subtle but powerful. It comes from deep conviction, not emotion. He refuses to let anyone direct his path, and he pushes back in ways that remind everyone he is not someone who can be controlled. One of the first signs of this rebellion is quiet resistance. The Sigma male stops following the suggestions, demands, or expectations placed on him. He does not explain why. He simply stops complying. If someone tries to limit his choices, he makes different choices. If someone tries to direct his actions, he moves in the opposite direction. This quiet resistance confuses people who are used to getting compliance from others. Another form of rebellion is controlling his own time. Sigma males do not allow others to manage their schedule. If someone tries to pressure him into doing something, he delays it, reschedules it, or rejects it altogether. This is not stubbornness for the sake of being difficult. It is a defense of his autonomy. He wants every decision to be made on his own terms, without being pushed. Sometimes the rebellion becomes more visible. The Sigma male may call out the controlling behavior directly, but he does this calmly and logically. He does not raise his voice. He does not get emotional. He simply states what he observes and sets a boundary. This directness can be shocking because it exposes the other person's behavior with clarity. Many people are not used to being confronted in such a straightforward way. Another form of rebellion happens through independence. When someone tries to shape his behavior, the Sigma male doubles down on doing things his own way. He becomes more focused, more disciplined, and more determined. He uses the control attempt as motivation to strengthen the parts of his life that matter to him. The more someone tries to limit him, the more he breaks free from any influence they had. His rebellion also reveals something important. He cannot be moved by pressure. Some people rely on guilt, manipulation, or emotional tactics to control others. These methods do not work on a Sigma male. He sees them immediately and rejects them completely. This reaction shocks people who expected him to give in. Instead of bending, he becomes firmer. Instead of shifting, he becomes more centered. In the end, his rebellion is not loud, but decisive. He makes it clear that he controls his own life, and anyone who tries to take that control will lose their influence. Once this happens, the person trying to control him begins to understand they have no power over him at all. Thing number 4, he reevaluates relationships and cuts ties. When someone tries to control a Sigma male, he doesn't see it as a simple conflict. He sees it as information. It tells him something important about the person trying to control him. It reveals their intentions, their mindset, and what they expect from him. Sigma males pay close attention to these signs. Once they sense control, they begin to reevaluate the entire relationship. This process is quiet but thorough, and it often leads to cutting ties. The Sigma male asks himself a series of internal questions. Does this person respect me? Do they see me as an equal? Are they trying to influence my choices for their benefit? Do they accept who I am, or are they trying to change me? His evaluation is logical. He does not let emotion cloud his judgment. If the answers show signs of control, he begins preparing to distance himself permanently. This re-evaluation happens in all types of relationships: romantic partners, friends, co-workers, and even family members. Sigma males do not treat control differently based on the relationship type. They have one rule: if someone tries to control them, that person becomes a threat to their autonomy. And they remove threats. As the Sigma male re-evaluates, he becomes more observant. He watches the person's reactions, listens to their tone, and pays attention to their demands. He sees patterns that others ignore. Once he identifies those patterns as controlling, he shuts down emotionally and moves into a state of detachment. The next step is cutting ties. He does this quietly. He does not announce it or create drama. He simply reduces contact, stops sharing personal information, and begins to step away. In some cases, he disappears completely. People often feel shocked because they did not realize how serious the situation had become. They thought they were influencing him. They did not realize he was already choosing to walk away. Cutting ties is not revenge. It is protection. The Sigma male believes that any relationship based on control is not worth keeping. He values freedom, honesty, and respect. If someone breaks those principles, he removes them from his life with finality. Once he cuts ties, he rarely returns. His decisions are long-term because he does not want to repeat the same painful lesson. This behavior surprises people who underestimate him. They expect pushback or argument. Instead, they lose access to him completely. And once he is gone, they realize the cost of trying to control someone who cannot be controlled. Thing number 5. He focuses even more on his own goals and life path. When someone tries to control a Sigma male, the experience does not weaken him. It strengthens him. Instead of being pulled into conflict or emotional chaos, he channels the situation into personal focus. He becomes even more dedicated to his goals, interests, and long-term plans. Control attempts act like a spark that drives him deeper into self-growth and independence. One of the first things he does is redirect his energy. Instead of wasting time trying to fix the situation or please the person attempting to control him, he uses that energy to build his own life. He studies more, trains harder, works smarter, or advances towards something meaningful. His reaction is productive, not emotional. This shift confuses people who try to influence him. They expect him to react, engage, or adjust. Instead, he becomes more self-driven. The more someone pushes him, the more he pushes himself. This creates a kind of inner momentum. Control attempts backfire because they make him stronger, not weaker. Another part of this shift is clarity. The Sigma male becomes very clear about what he wants. He cuts out distractions, reduces noise, and focuses on what truly matters. He takes steps that align with his long-term vision. Control attempts remind him why he must stay independent, and he uses that reminder to sharpen his direction. He also becomes more selective with people and opportunities. After facing control, he invests even less in situations that limit him. He surrounds himself with freedom, growth, and peace. He avoids drama and chooses environments that respect his autonomy. This selection process becomes part of his long-term development. Another outcome is resilience. The Sigma male learns from every experience, especially negative ones. When someone tries to control him, he studies the situation. He understands how it happened, why it happened, and how to prevent it in the future. Instead of being trapped by the situation, he grows from it. This ability to transform pressure into progress is one of his strongest traits. By focusing on his goals, the Sigma male protects himself and moves forward at the same time. The person who tried to control him often watches in confusion as he becomes even more focused, productive, and grounded. They expect him to react emotionally. Instead, he improves his life. This outcome shows why control never works on a Sigma male. It does not break him. It builds him. Thing number 6. He sets new, strict boundaries and rarely negotiates them. Once someone tries to control a Sigma male, something permanent changes in the way he handles that relationship. He does not simply move on and forget. He rebuilds his boundaries from the ground up, and these new boundaries are firm, clear, and rarely negotiable. This reaction protects him from being influenced again and it signals that he has learned everything he needed from the situation. Sigma males normally have natural boundaries, but they are relaxed when they feel respected. They give space, trust deeply, and allow people into their world slowly. But when someone crosses a line by trying to control them, the Sigma male tightens every part of his personal limits. What used to be a soft boundary becomes a hard rule. What used to be flexible becomes non-negotiable. One of the first signs of new boundaries is reduced access. The Sigma male no longer shares details about his life the way he once did. He does not talk about personal plans, emotions, or future ideas. He becomes private again, sometimes more private than ever before. This privacy is a shield that keeps others from knowing enough to influence him. Another new boundary is emotional distance. Once a Sigma male feels someone has tried to control him, he becomes wary. He watches their actions, questions their intentions, and refuses to open up easily. Even if the person apologizes or tries to fix the situation, the Sigma male does not return to the same level of trust. He does not hold grudges, but he does not forget either. He also becomes less available. The Sigma male may limit how often he interacts with the person, how long they speak, or how much energy he gives them. He protects his time because he understands that time is one of the easiest things for others to control. If someone tries to restrict or manipulate him again, they will find that access to him has already been reduced to the bare minimum. Another boundary is independence. The Sigma male reinforces his autonomy after any attempt to control him. He becomes more decisive, more private, and more self-directed. He controls his environment, his schedule, and his choices with more precision. Anyone who tries to influence him meets resistance they cannot break through. These boundaries are not designed to punish. They are designed to protect. The Sigma male has learned that some people do not understand subtlety. Some only respect lines when they are hard and clear. So he draws those lines without hesitation. Once he does, they stay in place. And people quickly realize that controlling a Sigma male leads not to compliance, but to distance they can never fully undo. When people try to control a Sigma male, they often expect a predictable reaction. They expect resistance, argument, or emotional conflict. What they never expect is the calm, deliberate transformation that happens instead. Sigma males do not respond to control the way most people do. Their reactions are quiet, firm, and final. And once these reactions begin, the relationship will never return to what it was before. We explored what unfolds behind the scenes, how the Sigma male withdraws when he feels pressured, how he shuts down emotionally to protect himself, how he rebels in subtle but powerful ways, and how he re-evaluates relationships with sharp clarity. Instead of being influenced, he becomes more independent. Instead of giving in, he focuses even harder on his own path. And in the end, he sets boundaries that make it nearly impossible for anyone to control him again. These reactions come from a deep sense of self-value. Sigma males refuse to lose themselves in someone else's expectations. They refuse to be shaped, pushed, or guided into roles that do not fit who they are. Their independence is not a performance. It is a core part of their identity. And any attempt to challenge that identity awakens their strongest traits: silence, distance, clarity, and resilience. Trying to control a Sigma male does not create obedience. It creates separation. It pushes him further into his own life and away from the people who misunderstand him. And once he makes that shift, he does not look back. He knows that freedom is worth more than approval, and authenticity is worth more than fitting in. If this video helped you understand how Sigma males react to pressure and control, take a moment to reflect on the independent people in your life. Sometimes the quietest individuals are the ones who see the most, feel the most, and protect themselves the most. And when they sense control, they transform in ways that are impossible to reverse.